everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be playing more mono black here. I have been an advocate of playing Leyline of the Void in the list for a little while, and I think we're just about at the time that we need to take Leyline of the Void out. Omniscience is the main reason we have been playing this, the Omniscience Reanimate deck, and we just happen to fully like some of the Squirming Emergence decks because of it, or some of the other Reanimate type decks, or like the one where you cast Raise to Pass. So there's been a lot of reasons to play this, but from playing the last 2-ish days, those decks have kind of shown up less and less, especially the Omniscience deck, because the thing about that list that's so complicated, if you know what I'm talking about, is the combo is really long to get through, and knowing kind of how arena players are at times, it's definitely frustrating to get through the loop and then your opponent just leaves, so then they time out, and then you're just you genuinely spend 3 to 5 minutes just doing the combo, whereas playing another deck, you could play it an entire match at that point, best of one. That deck in general, even though it's good in best of one, has stopped showing up as much. The Leyline of the Void may or may not be getting cut. We talk about it a bit in the outro of today's video. As you can see, I have other cards over here. It's no surprise there's 4 sideboard cards. But with that said, what's our plan? We're some mono black control shell for the most part. We are here to remove creatures the best we can with 3 cut downs, 2 anoints, 2 go for throats, 2 nowhere runs, along with 4 Deep-Cavern Bats and 3 Duresses to hand disrupt, 2 Lilianas to add on to that, especially if they're control. As control might or might not become more relevant, Lilianas might or might have to go up a bit more, as they are obviously really good against control. Pretty much are only out to domain in general, but domain and best of one don't necessarily match up too well, as the format in best of one's a little too fast for domain on average, where domain's just yeah, I just can't beat mono red when they're on the play. So with that said, Liliana, maybe more, maybe less, not entirely sure. But other than that, we are on Unstoppable Slasher, Bloodletter combo. If Unstoppable Slasher hits our opponent with a Bloodletter in play, no matter what their life total is, the game is over. Sheoldred as our best 4-drop, the Voids for the reason, and Unholy Annex is the foundation and the glue of the deck, the best card probably in the deck overall, outside of just Sheoldred in a generic term. But Unholy Annex just draws a ton of cards, gives us a lot of life, and then makes another 6/6 and closes the game by itself. Outside of that, the last note is the Sanctuaries, where these can technically count as a demon or Unholy Annex. And with that said, let's just go ahead and dive right into games and get after it. My opponent goes first. Okay, we will keep. We have a Duress, go for a throat, Lily, into maybe a Sheoldred. Obviously, we have to draw one more land for that. But, ooh. Leyline of the Void off the top every single time. You know your free spell will be the 8th card every time. Am I against burn? Seems that way. Power to target creature or planeswalker. Gross. We have go for the throat, and then we have Lily, so we'll just take away Burst Lightning. Burst Lightning can always kick for more. It didn't shock me here. We're actually pretty pumped about that. Player Prowess creature. Only target creature or planeswalker, so we don't have to hastily hit that with the go for the throw. We can always kind of wait here. But if they don't play the Nemesis, and it gets a little bit more awkward, right? Because then we have to remove this with the go for the throw. If I can remove Nemesis, I'd much rather do that. Here, we have to get rid of this because I can sack it to the Lily. I think we're just going to get hit with the shock here. But then we can play land, play Lily minus. And then maybe they go for Slasher. Or not Slasher, Screaming Nemesis. Or I can play a Slasher here. That good enough? I think I'll play Slasher instead. I'll block Felden Slasher. I don't care. I'll give him a little bit of value. That's the best part about Death Touch creature. We're able to just it's only going to do 2. Oh, another land revealing it. Interesting. I mean, we can't really gain life outside of Unholy Annex. So I don't know if they're playing to that. They might be. There'll be a lot to be seen here. They go for Nemesis. They have a shock held up. Eldon can't block. So, like, sure. Combat. Here. Like, half your life total? Yeah, Felton can't block, brother. He held that back. I was a little confused as well, to be honest with you. Now we just hold with this nowhere to run, I believe. Another land, brutal. Brutal indeed. Manifold Mouse, Liliana minus also now no longer good. Care? I guess it'll use their last card, right? If they want to shock this. Okay, they don't. Alright, sweet. They elect not to, which is dope. But now they have the villages. So Slasher's probably going to have to stay back as a blocker. Oh, maybe. It's also half their life total. Hope it's like the weird part where it's like Deep-Cavern Bat can force something. I can Lily plus take their shock away or force them to use it, but I think it's Lily minus here. And then they'll just use the shock on Lily, so we get the card either way.
When I win, you're telling me what you know about the Raven Man.
Sure.
Off you go.
Do I go for the attack here? I think so. I feel like there has to be a block. I don't know much else in a situation where you don't. And then sure, they might shock this, but then now we're in top deck mode. Worst case scenario is I get hit for 6. Like worst case scenario. They might also even just prioritizing taking out Liliana. Maybe they have a Monstrous Rage, which means I get hit for a ton more. It'd be obviously an incredible top deck, but like now Lily can take the last card unless it's a spell, of course. Plus Leyline of the Void, obviously a free discard. Maybe it's just a land. The Witch Stalker Frenzy. Okay, fair enough. Here's my Sheoldred. Sheoldred will just protect best it can. I mean, it's 100% blocking. There's just no other way. 3 double strike. Sure. All right. That Sheoldred obviously gonna block here. Maybe. You have a lot of outs. This does 6. I go to 5. An Unholy Annex go stay at 5. Like Deep-Cavern Bat I can minus. That's so weird one. But a swing with Sheoldred doesn't threaten lethal though. And this is free card draw every turn, so I should just take it, right? Just like one of those weird things. Go for the throw, it's huge. Minus.
This isn't how things were supposed. Haven't you ever
Okay,
heard of
fair enough.
personal space?
I'm gonna play out Deep-Cavern Bat just as a life linker. You know, they're also at 7. So this puts us very close. Mono red, so we don't have to budge at all. Just fire off to go for the throw. We just wait till combat here, and then we just pop the Manifold Mouse. Make them go all down to 1 spell, or 1 card in hand, or 1 land. Sure. Block. For the throat. We wanted to try to bait out a Monstrous Rage if they had it. Putting a blocker in front would definitely do that. But just a shock, okay? Attack. Go ahead. You got it for me, boss? It's just one removal spell. We have it covered entirely. No, it's not. We also have this recovered. We have this recovered. Yes, I'm okay with that. We have this covered entirely as well because they will have to double block. And then we can also play the Unholy Annex from hand. So it's going to be attack, get them to double block, play the Unholy Annex, and then just win. But like, we have everything covered regardless. Oh boy, well, we get to go first, and we have quite the hand, huh? Lethal if we draw 2 lands, and if they're a graveyard strategy, we have interaction. So go. I just cannot beat graveyard strategy and stuff a lot of times, so it's just, it is what it is. Deep-Cavern Bat can go. Obviously we want to try to hold out for this stuff, but maybe holding one of the only castable cards is a little bit better. Oh, it's gonna be a tough game, huh? And his town's gonna be annoying. Nowhere to run, also even more annoying, I think. Because obviously it removes their Deep-Cavern Bat permanently, but if they just bounce their Deep-Cavern Bat, we can play it and then force them to remove it. But Unholy Annex is the solution to this matchup. We just have to find it. The Bloodletter is the discard here. The land is huge. Combat. Attack. Flasher. We're gonna have to use this town against us, most likely. Go for the throw is kind of a dead card. It's not like the best card. Now they can this town, Hopeless Nightmare, pick up stuff, bounce stuff, do stuff, so on and so forth. We're gonna hold up this town, which is good, makes sense. Well, let's go for an attack here. We end up bouncing. Unstoppable Slasher. Sure. And the fun gameplay begins. My favorite gameplay. Let's take some extra cards. Anoint, pretty cool. For a third, just as good. Obviously, do we keep the creature? Probably. I had to guess. We're leveling some stuff up. Maybe. They only have 1 black mana, which is keeping them a bit bottlenecked, which is obviously good for us. Blue, or this towning? Training, okay. Cut down is a pretty good pickup. But you can't bounce that back to your hand. What are you doing? The other thing is, though, we do shut this card off effectively, which is nice. Even though it's a little bit weird, like making this town in the graveyard do nothing is obviously really good. General. Now we have even a better card to kind of get in there and answer some stuff with. Combat. Attack. We can just play like Lily and go that route, right? Or I can just go for double removal. Because again, this town can only happen so many times. But if I go with Lily and I plus on them, then what do they do? I don't know. Let's do that. Let's hit their hand. We can both play this game if you want.
Let's this fight finished before brunch.
We'll have to make a decision. This town, Hopeless Nightmare, or the cut down.
Don't.
You want to tell me before I discard so I can discard accordingly? Honestly, Anoint doesn't matter, right? Because go for a throw exiles anyway. And also holding this Unstoppable Slasher makes it a bit awkward for them. Then they have to kind of be like, oh, well, can I remove that? I don't know. Can I? Maybe, maybe not. Cut down good. Will they cast a spell now? If they cast a spell now, they can't kill the Liliana, I think. No, they definitely can. They can go for this town on Bandit's talent and what? Leyline of the Void, maybe? Am I Unholy Annex? Yeah, okay. And this might be a situation also where Unstoppable Slasher just has to go. But they're still bottlenecked on black, maybe, unless they drew a swamp here. Which is why maybe you should have considered bouncing this. I'll let Slasher go. Double removal here seems good enough to keep. Fear, sure. They got lucky with the top deck, allowing them to get another spell off so they can get Liliana down. And yes, I do mean that they got lucky with the top deck. I understand it can be a little tilting phrasing there, because it's like, well, they didn't get lucky. They just, you know, they played to the out. It's like, well, they didn't have a way to pick that up. Lily lived, and then they lost their last card in hand, you know? We'll see. Double cut down and go for the third is pretty good. This can be played, not activated, though. We're going to get hit for quite a bit. One more land means we make a big demon, which should be fine. We've already used 2 this towns, which should leave us pretty good. Combat. Resolving immediately, which means I'm just going to make this. Just to gain a little bit of life here. Then we draw another land, which is free discard unless they use Bandit's talent again. And just like that, Unholy Annex can win the game, and Leyline of the Void actually put in work against that deck, where normally I don't think it would. Yeah, I mean, we'll play it up. Seems fine. Maybe we'll draw a land. Maybe we'll be good. Always the thing you gotta do sometimes. Back to this could mean a couple of things. We'll obviously get that figured out right here and now. Oh man, that's tough, huh? Well, don't let them discard for free. I know that answer. So obviously Bitter Triumph is the better removal. They virtue, and now like they can get rid of the Atali, which is obviously what we don't want them to be able to do for free. Let's go Annex. And now we just would like to draw a Leyline of the Void off the top of our library. Never mind, we can't do that.
Something suspicious is going on. I'm tired of your secrets.
Sometimes, you know, it's kind of cringe to play like a card in your deck and then you just don't hit it, you know. Play a Slasher. It sticks around if it gets removed. You're gonna Atali me next turn, so hopefully, you know, it doesn't hit anything that good. Plus, here.
One of your friends has to leave.
Get Tallying? Yeah. Sure. Okay. Yeah. I think I play Leyline of the Void. That'd be a really good card, I think, to, you know, play around some of the things that are happening right now. And I'm just dead on board. I think. Yeah, I mean, I'm just moving on. It doesn't matter. And nothing like playing against the graveyard deck to have 2 Leyline of the Voids in your second opener. Dude, sure. I don't know. Now I have all Leyline of the Voids, and now it won't matter. Or it will. Who knows? It won't matter. Update. I've learned. Not gonna matter. Is another land hit is obviously good there. We're gonna have to double Deep-Cavern Bat here. Okay. Okay. I mean, it goes back to your graveyard at least. I don't know if I've ever seen a Sheltered by Ghost be used on a Leyline of the Void like that, but I mean, I'll take it. Rest. Oh, it's the nonsense version of the deck. Okay. Pass. That makes sense then, to be honest with you. Let's take the damage. We'll look to Deep-Cavern Bat. We want them to use their protection spell. But Deep-Cavern Bat number 1. They'll go for protection spell when we target them. Maybe they have something else. I don't know what else they would have. I guess. Sure. Thanks. All right. Why did they hate Leyline of the Void so much? I understand it exiles a couple of their cards, but golly, brother. I feel like Unstoppable Slash is worse. We'll pass. Obviously can find a good spell. I'm at the point, even if they play a discard effect, I'm almost going to get rid of my Leyline. You know what I mean? It just didn't seem like a reasonable thing. No way you take one there, right? You're just like, screw it, let's just go to 10. I feel like just jumping for 1 would have been fine. Huh? Gosh, that temporary lockdown. Oh, 3rd Pixie. Okay. I've never been happier. This is my favorite game I've played in a long time. This is 5 take half. Do I even care about this Deep-Cavern Bat? I don't think so. This could be a really bad play, but sure, I'll put you to 2. Uh-huh. Then we get to untap with a cut down and a Deep-Cavern Bat. Sure. Start here. Combat. Double lethal attack. Sure. Here, there's just no reason whatsoever to use our cut down. A lot of their effects cannot bounce our land, so we just do this and pass, I believe. Return up to 2 non-land permanents. I think even the removal spells is non-land. Then we just attack real quick. I was going to do it quick for you. We are going first here. We are fine to keep this, obviously. At least I think. Maybe a little, obviously. Burn. Okay. Annoying. Annoying. 4 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Helix is life gain. This is card draw. I think it's supposed to be Boros Charm. I don't know if they could beat Sheoldred the Gathering, but we'll see. Which is one reason maybe we should have taken the Rend Resolve. They also don't have a white mana, so maybe taking this was bad. Here's my Liliana of the Veil. We will plus
When I win.
every burn spell they put on Liliana, the happier we are. Because that's just essentially gaining life. And this is sorcery, and they didn't cast it. So we'll see. Cast it now. Burst Lightning and a land to make a white. So their deck is officially online. Let's plus here. Cut down, gone. Doesn't necessarily seem like the best card against the burn deck. Here's a Sheoldred. A card that's just going to gain me 2 life every time I go to my turn. With a Bloodletter, that's immediately 8 damage, 4 more damage for the turn. Sheoldred's in play. Burst Lightning, sure. This is the thing, like, this essentially gave me 5 life, if you think about it that way, right? Land. Thankfully, that's what we draw. Now we play Bloodletter, and Liliana plussing is just significantly better. This is going to be a matchup where just plussing Lily is better than actually ulting a Lily. Or minusing if they play something that I need to minus on. Are you going to double spell my Bloodletter? Now, Boros Charm could answer Bloodletter cleanly, which is one of the reasons we took it. It deals 4 damage to any other target. What? Oh, battle or opponent. Okay. Plus. Again, I think Lily's just better plussing here than anything else. Down to 12. It's a 3-turn clock if nothing else changes. So they have to have a faster clock than me while losing 2 cards a turn at minimum to do so. Screaming Nemesis. Now Liliana will minus on Nemesis. Alright, fantastic pickup here. We don't want them to get reoccurring damage. We have to prevent that. We attack. Put them down to 7, and now we have lethal next turn. Because our land that we can bring up. I guess I don't care if they remove this. Plus. Which Darker Frenzy is possible, but we plus here and then we attack for lethal. But interesting way to beat the burn deck, huh? Just play Liliana and say, hey, your burn spells, I am taking one of them at minimum a turn, right? Like, you're just not going to be able to keep them ever. And honestly, like, it would have been a little bit harder on their hand if they actually were able to use the spells. And one of the reasons I probably should have taken this, but if they drew a white land and played this and just immediately took out my Liliana, that would have been bad because it only pluses to 4 on the initial plus. So, sure, we'll take it. Considering I'm on the draw, and this is starting in play, playable, maybe playable, really playable. If I find a land is what I mean by maybe playable. But Leyline of the Void obviously can shut off a lot of things for free. A mount comes in, we look at hand. Innkeeper Talent is the most annoying card here, if there's a card that's annoying. Because it's just free value no matter what they do, so it's got to be Innkeeper's Talent, I think. And then they will probably go for Questing Druid, which I could not target with the removal spell. Obviously, they go for Hired Claw. A cut down is a fantastic pickup for us. We just see what they want to do. Obviously, if they play land and go for a Screaming Nemesis, I'm obviously taking that out first. I'm willing to take this damage to see if they go for Nemesis here. They do not. Okay. Here. Well, you save it with your Monstrous Rage. Is it worth it to you? If so, I'll play Lily and minus. Okay, cool. So we effectively use Cut Down as a removal spell there, which is nice. Let's play Lily. Now, if we would have used Nowhere to Run, that would have worked either way. But what I assume is going to happen here, we get rid of that, right? And then they're going to play, and they might activate this, which is, like, good. But now, like, what do? You play this and you Monstrous Rage it? They find a land. Well, now they can Nemesis and Monstrous Rage Nemesis, I guess. Is that what they'll do? I don't know. Sure. You going face? I hope so. Ah. You're too smart.
This isn't how things were supposed to go.
I don't know. We have to draw. You just don't have a choice here. I will know where to run. As long as we find a land, we can answer this. But will we find that land? I have no idea. By taking 7 damage here? Maybe. Oh, that's tough, dude. Really? This is another frustrating situation where, like, missing a land is going to cost the game. If I got a land here, I could play, like, a Sheoldred, maybe, like, nullify this a bit, you know? But when we miss another land, we just take 7 here. They can crew this up if they find a land. I'm dead. Like, there's zero chance they don't lightning strike me. And then just find lethal here, which sucks. Maybe I played it a little bit loosely by letting the Questing Druid hit, I guess. Surprised I didn't Offspring there. I think I'd go for Offspring over that. But especially when I see Lilianas and whatnot. But well, now we find a land, and I just don't think it's enough, right? Yeah, I just don't think we have enough to do anything.
We all have things we'd rather forget.
Or I can't. Yeah, it's lethal. I don't know why I'm even sitting here. Unlucky. I think if we find that land, I think you can see how much this game changes by just one turn. The nowhere to run double down on the Screaming Nemesis last turn would have removed it. This would have been the only thing left. Playing this, then it's just not like as lethal as it could be. Then maybe they target here, give this double strike, we can block and maybe survive another turn. But missing a land, come up short. Yeah, sure. I think this is my last test if Leyline the Void's going to be good. It's been fine in matchups, but it's just been too bad overall. I think, like, right here, for example, wouldn't we be happier if this was just a removal spell? And that's felt like the case in a lot of our spots. The Lord's good. They get to kind of play like two token makers anyway, but with a Knight Errant, we should make it as hard as possible and take the hop to it. And they definitely seem like a deck that's like, outside of a case, they're not going to have a ton of removal. So we're just going to play our Unstoppable Slasher and call it a day. Obviously no blocks here. Would love to stop drawing lands. That'd be super sick. But will we lose? This is one of the issues too with like Leyline the Void in a spot like that. Sure did. Yep. I love that for me. This is one of the issues with like Leyline the Void in a matchup where it's just bad like this. It's kind of hard to like miss a removal spell when we're flooding, right? Where if it's a removal spell, we just feel a lot better in general. Don't worry, I ain't making you discard anytime soon. I'm gonna play Sheoldred. I'm gonna attack for one. At least in green white, outside of this, they're not gonna get a ton of extra buffing. Not gonna. Huh? Okay. All right. The deck working perfectly. Sure. I will definitely take this chance to block like this. Because sure, I take a big hit, but Sheoldred gains me life back, right? So it's like... one of those things where it's like, well... I don't even know how to explain it. It's like one of the things where, yeah, sure, we take way more damage, right, in general, with how that ends up happening, but we gain way more back in value. Now we get to play the Unholy Annex, and then we don't like, we lose life, and we don't necessarily, but like, here's another example of Leyline just being like too devastating in general. No. So we'll counter the Pollen this time around, and that'll be gone. I don't know why they didn't put it under Trampler the first time around, but it's fine. A little short on lethal here. Let's block like this. But like this not being removal, like now is like incredibly hurtful, right? We now just have to hope to draw an extra spell. Or we just have to hope they don't get to play one of those. There's no reason in taking one if they have two. Attacking for the life worth it? It is not, because it doesn't do anything. Another land draw, and it's just... If this is a removal spell, we're much happier, or any type of interaction. And then that should be it, right? Pretty close anyway. Block here. Well, I'll gain a little bit of life here, right? Have to keep our Sheoldred alive, shrink everything while we can. We go to technically 0, and then we go up, obviously. They get a lot of good cards back. Cut down, not good. Make a big demon here. I could threaten lethal, I guess. Right? So they have to block. 2 here, go to 9, lose half. Then they take 2. Then they take 2. Is that close? Right? Am I doing my math right? Attack. They take it. They go to 9. They'll lose 5. They'll go to 4. 2 and 2. Okay. Let's see if they see it. Maybe my math took too long. Maybe my math took too long. No knight in hand, so I'm just going to pass here. But now, I mean, we just gained 4, right? Because now the Unholy Annex triggered, and then Sheoldred also gained us life. So we're not going neutral with the Unholy Annex. But pretty clean blocks overall. Worked out well. Countering the other pollen was obviously massive. A little bit of a mistake on their end where they definitely could have done some problems. Sure. Well, they attack. They can get 2 through, but there's just not going to be enough. The flyer in the air wins, so it doesn't matter. All right, cool. I mean, I think that's a good game to end on. I'll explain more in the outro. Okay, so today is one of those days where we find out that a card that we're playing isn't necessarily that strong right now because the meta doesn't demand that we play it. And that is the Leyline of the Void. Leyline of the Void, a very, very strong, good card in general. And when the Omniscience stack was absolutely everywhere, I think it had a little bit more value. But the problem with the Omniscience stack is if you run a couple of games with it, even if you win, right? So say you get 3 wins, but say those 3 wins, they force you to play it out. It is not fun to play, right? Like the idea, at least in my mind, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody can tell me I'm wrong. At least with the Omniscience deck, like when you present the loop, at least in paper, you're like, I can do this loop over and over again. And even if your opponent says, no, you have to play it out, you can always pull a judge over. And the judge is like, if you don't have a response, they're allowed to demonstrate loops. And they don't have to completely like do it over and over and over again or whatever. But with Leyline of the Void, being able to stop that deck, we needed to play it because we just couldn't beat it. But I think I'm at the point with this deck specifically, at least right now, that I'd rather just be 0 whatever against the Omniscience deck and just make myself way stronger against aggro. Or like those other type of decks. There's sometimes a best one where you just can't afford to like do stuff like this. And this is where like the beauty of best of 3 comes in. It's like a best of 3. We have 4 Leyline of the Voids for that match, right? And then they're just going to have to figure it out in games 2 and 3. And we're going to have a lot of hand disruption, have a lot of exile effects. But I think I would be much happier in this build doing like an additional one of these, going up another one of these or something like that. Or like having more Duresses or like doing things that interact just a bit more in terms of like messing with my opponent's hand or like constantly having a bit more removal spells, because every time that we have a Leyline of the Void in play, at least in the beginning, and it doesn't actually matter too much for the matchup, it's 1, putting us a card down against the Pixie decks, and then 2, even though it technically works really well against like Storm Chaser's talent because they don't get to buy back the cards, so the Storm Chaser's talent has like way less value in it. But like outside of that, Hopeless Nightmare has 1 less card it has to get through before you're empty-handed. Or like the creature that your opponent played on turn 1, if you have a Leyline of the Void, and it, like we did in today's video where we only played 3, where we draw a second one, and now we're like, wow, wouldn't we be happier if that was just 2 removal spells or 2 anything else other than lands, obviously, at times. And I think that's just where we fall right now. I'd much rather be way more solid against those decks. I think Archfiend was the card we were playing. I don't know what other demons are currently in the meta. I can't spell because my keyboard's too far away. But yeah, I think realistically we just do end up doing this. Play like one of these maybe. I don't like playing too many. I think it's just like, I don't know what it is about Archfiend of the Dross. I just don't typically like playing it too much. But that said, I mean, this is where we're at. I think this is probably what I would queue back up and then just keep the Leylines on retainer. If you don't have them, don't craft them. You just played like something more like this in general. But with that said, I'm going to call it there. It's a bit of a shorter video. It's kind of the weekend. Play a lot of Magic throughout the week whenever it comes from like working my job and or not even necessarily playing, just like selling cards, buying cards, scheduling events, getting ready for Chicago, things like that. Speaking of which, I'll be at Chicago, but we'll be there. I will be there if you're interested. Say hi. It's weird to be like, maybe somebody would want to meet me, but outside of that, this is the list. This is what I'm playing, and this is probably what I'll play if I play Mono Black again. So, as I said, goodbye. Thanks for watching.